Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About It, a series of topics, thought provoking topics that sparks discussion amongst the generations here on campus. Tonight's topic is about stereotypes or misconceptions of Black people, African Americans. Uh, and we just want to have a little bit of dialogue to talk about where we are as a generation and the misconceptions. So, as we all know, stereotypes of the African Americans and their culture has evolved within the American society, dating back to the period where Africans were enslaved and brought to this country. And so, a lot of those stereotypes are connected to persistent racism and discrimination that we still face today as African Americans, along with our brown brothers and sisters. So tonight, we just want to have a little dialogue about those Black misconceptions with a spin on it, old school versus new school. I'm old school, and I have a guest panelist of new school, where we'll have a discussion from the perspective here on the campus of Savannah State. So, joining me tonight for our panel discussion are leaders from organizations here at SSU, and we're going to go ahead and bring our panelists in. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Yes. How are you all doing tonight? You ready? Gotta take you off. Unmute yourselves. There we go. Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
Good.
Amazing. How about you?
Yeah. All right. I'm doing great. Looking forward to the discussion. We'll start off with introducing ourselves. We'll start off with Zion.
Hey, how are you? My name is Zion Taylor, and today I'll be representing the Elite Eta Gamma chapter of Iowa Faith Fraternity Incorporated.
Good. Jacoby?
So I came here. I'm sorry. Nothing was good for that. But hello, everybody. My name is Jacoby Dan. I am here representing the Kappa Pi chapter of Delta Sigma Pi Fraternity Incorporated.
Great. Devin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Devin Daniels, and I will be representing Word Incorporated.
Miss Destiny.
Hi, everyone. I'm Destiny Conwell, and I'll be representing Savannah State in our TC unit.
All right, Miss Carrie and Octoria.
Hi, my name is Carrie Ann Wiggin, and I am the president of CAB.
Hello, everyone. I'm Octoria Foreman. I'll be representing the Iota Zeta chapter of Tau Beta Sigma National Honorary Band sorority.
All right. Good evening. Very diverse group of student leaders here on campus. So you guys ready to get started?
As always.
All right, let's talk about it. Our first Black misconception, demeanor and appearance. Who wants to take a stab at it?
I'll go. I do feel like nowadays, as being Black, when it comes to our appearance, I feel like especially other races, they look as Black people like we always have, the flyest clothes. We always set the trends. We always, like you said earlier, like, go to, something. I feel like in the reality, all Black people are not like that. Well, all I don't have the flashiest clothes. We all don't like loud color clothes. And that's why I feel like it's a misconception when it comes to our appearance. And I feel like they all think we're supposed to dress like, I don't know, let me say typical Black men, like dress like really masculine in a way. Black man. When in reality, every Black man don't dress as masculine as the other Black man. That's the next Black man.
Okay, all right.
And that's what I can say on that.
Yeah, so how much of social media do you think plays into that, or just a generation? How much do you think that they play into that misconception?
I do feel like social media plays into it in a way, because nowadays it's all about, likes and taking pictures and upping your appearance for pictures. And, like back then, how slaves, dressed, how they used to be for, what was it called? Like Best Sunday? Like, how the slaves used to get, and I feel like us as Black people, we kind of hold each other to a higher standard. We always trying to up our appearance for that validation. I feel like we trying to seek a validation that don't need to be sought. And I
Right.
feel like that plays into it too.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. So you do take your generation, when I say you, take into account uh, how the appearance and demeanor of Black people back in the day. So that kind of just plays into what how you all still carry yourselves today.
Most definitely. I
Right?
do feel like that now that it then plays into how we see ourselves today. Our appearance is from the way, like, wait, can I go back and try back on what we said about social media again?
Mhm.
What we said about social media, because I do want to also say I do feel like social media also, when it comes to us being
Right.
Black, we
Mhm.
also feel like that we do have to, have the flashiest things that we have to show off. We have to show off everything that we get
Right.
in
Right.
our appearance, and I feel like we be so, as Black people, we feel like we have something to prove. That's what I feel like I just reinstated myself.
Right. That's good. We get you. We get you. Anybody else want to chime in on that topic? I get you. I think for me it's good to hear you say that because looking at young folks, and then I think my context is back to the old pictures that I see of even here at Savannah State. The first students that attended, they were dressed in their Sunday best, as you say. So for you all, your Sunday best or your best is that flashy. You go, your fly outfits or whatnot. So, I mean, it's good to know that that's a context. It's still something that's relevant. You all are just doing it in your own way nowadays, right? Anybody else want to chime in on the demeanor and appearance misconceptions of Black folks? Yeah.
I would. I feel like appearance wise, like especially for a Black female, I feel like our hair plays a big role in a lot of how people perceive us. Even within our own community, the different types of hairstyles that I have will make people perceive me different. Like if I'm just out in the grocery store or something, like when I have braids and I'm talking a certain type of way, people may not think that I go to college or that I'm here on a scholarship and planning to, serve our country. People don't
Mhm.
take that from me. And I feel like with like, sewing and stuff, some people around school like will approach me different or talk to me different versus if I was wearing like my natural hair and stuff. And it's really funny to realize when I started wearing my natural hair, I noticed one thing, like a lot of people come up to me, hey queen, and like people haven't said that really to me before, but like they come out more when they see you, embracing your natural self. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
lot of different
The
topics
way
to
that you're treated. Yeah. So I think I can go back to the 70s, and I'm Black and I'm proud. I think before then, everyone was perming their hair and making sure it was straight, going with the European look or something much different. And then when we got in the fight, began to demand our rights, everybody cropped up with the afros and natural, and it really was a statement. Um, so you guys are really doing the same thing now. It's kind of like full circle. You're embracing your blackness, and so you are treated differently if your hair is a different style than when you wear it natural. So again, full cycle, old school, new school. Everything is coming full cycle for you. Anybody else on that topic? Anything else? Yeah.
I personally feel like a way how media portrays how women wear clothing, that we have to remain feminine at all times. We have to be dressed all the way, cleavage has to be covered and things like that. But at the same time, everybody has their own individual style. So,
Mhm.
meaning like if you like oversized t shirts, you can wear those with a pair of jeans and boots. But they're expecting us, the way how media portrays Black women, especially, is that we have on short shorts and crop tops all the time and
Mhm.
doing all those things that not necessarily every single Black woman does.
Right, right, right. I agree. But again, I go back to the question, what are we putting out that is lending to the misconceptions?
Hmm.
The Housewives series, the video
Yeah.
vixens, all of that kind of stuff kind of plays into that. So then I'll toss this question out there. Do you think that we need to clean up to help kind of wash away or steer away some of the misconceptions that people have of Black people?
I think so.
Mhm.
Even though sometimes the misconception doesn't necessarily come from the Black African Americans, It doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily always come from them. It also can come from many other cultures and other races. So, I mean, if we clean up our image, maybe they'll see that, okay, now this misconception that I've had for so long isn't necessarily true.
For what everybody else said. Gotcha. Anybody else? All
Uh,
right. Yeah.
speak on it in a light that not necessarily that I disagree, but I look at it different. I feel like as Black people, it's not our responsibility to be the ones to have to clean up for the world. I feel like if everybody's doing it, but you're only seeing a problem when it's me doing it, aka like people, non-people of color get box braids. It's like a trend on social media, and then Black girls get box braids, and that's their main mug shot that's like circling around. Like it's seen as like,
Wow.
and I feel like it's not my responsibility to change
Mhm.
my appearance or change the way I speak or talk just so you can digest it better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Got it. Because a lot of people, a lot of different cultures do, um, I call it um, praise or give homage to, the African American culture, what we do and how we do, our hair, our styles, the way we talk, our music, all of that stuff. So for me, it's an homage to the African American culture. When we see other cultures, you know, admiring and mimicking what we do and how we do it. All right, so let's talk about education. Some misconception about blacks in education. I'll even go so far as to say in different with the different jobs or careers that are chosen. What are some of the misconceptions? I have one off the bat. A lot of black folks will not go into science. Why did you do laugh? You do laugh. Science or those type of fields or those studies, the science, mathematics, the STEM areas. What do you say to that?
I completely agree. When I
Mhm.
tell people that I'm a mathematics major, they're completely shocked. Like they're like, "Oh, why did you do that? This, that, and third." And instead of thinking, like, that I like want to, maybe do something big with it or something that I like, it was like, "Oh, are you trying to get like an easy job as a teacher?" And I'm like, "No, I don't even want to be a teacher." Like, not saying that like that's a bad thing or anything, but it's just like, why would you say? First of all, teaching is not an easy job. So why would you
Right,
say like why would you want to get it an easy job as a teacher? Like it just doesn't make
right,
sense to me. And I feel
right.
like another misconception that they have with Black people in education, they feel like the ones that are in education that everything was handed to us, that we were chosen because we were Black or like under a certain poverty line. When a lot of that isn't true, like we do work really hard for the things that we have, and a lot of times we aren't given handouts as other people are.
Might think. All right, brothers. You guys get a bad rap in reference to attending college, seeking higher education. What do you say to that? I mean, it's beautiful to see brothers in college, but that's just not so. That's not a phenomenon to me. That's just what it is, right?
All right. One misconception that I know of being a black male in education would be that a lot of black men do. How do I word it? So I am an English major here at Savannah State, minoring in Africana
Mm-hmm.
Studies, and most commonly, people will always ask, "Why did you do English? Why did you become an English major
Mm-hmm.
versus everything else, and what can you do with it?" And with that question was when I really came down to it, because I thought my
Mm-hmm.
first reason was the reason, which is me truly just understanding myself through English. Really, it was to, I guess you could say, understand the world through English, because the best way you can hide something. They used to say the best way you can hide something from a black person is hiding it in a book,
The book,
because
right,
black
right,
people don't like to read.
correct. That's a misconception. Yeah,
That is a huge misconception,
right.
and it's a whole dilemma within education, in which you can
Mm-hmm.
break down to the core to see the disconnect between blacks and education.
Right, right.
Because, granted, there's been during, I forgot exactly, but there's been many different African Americans fighting for educational rights, and then when they would
Mm-hmm.
just have it,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they would take it away by enforcing only charter schools, so that way blacks would
Right,
not be able to get a public education with the
right,
rights.
Right.
So when it comes to being a male with education, it's kind of difficult because it's kind of difficult because education to an extent can sometimes be female oriented because females tend to be
Mhm.
more understanding and knowledgeable about how everything
Mhm.
interacts versus when a male focuses on one thing he can't really see, so he has to open his mind to the
Mm.
other options and how everything affects each other, and that's based
Mm.
off of childhood and everything.
Childhood. Okay, that's interesting. Do you think that you brought up a good point that made me think about um, women are seen as less of a threat and much easier to get along with, and like males, young boys are much more rebellious, act out. Do you think that plays into it? Yeah, go ahead, Octavia.
Um, yes, I feel like because my ultimate career goal is to become a school social worker.
Hmm.
So, I will be, working with children, that will be in the school system, but may not, be able to perform correctly in class due to like home stuff and everything like
Right,
that.
right.
So when it comes down to, with the black males starting out in middle school, elementary school, it starts there and it starts then. So I know that it's
Hmm.
important for teachers, for counselors, for administrators to really try to understand the child and not just automatically just try to throw a stereotype as far as like, oh,
Right,
he's just bad, he's just this, he's just that. No,
right,
there's maybe something that's going on at home, or he may not get that much of attention and everything like that.
right, right.
So I just feel like that we just have to, as educators, in
Hmm.
the schoolhouse and stuff like that, we just have to make sure that we pay attention to those little things like that, because that could prevent a lot in his future, in her future, the young black
Right,
kids. And
right.
also, just seeing male educators, I feel like I can't remember if I even had a black male teacher
Mm.
while I was growing up. So
Right.
having us as educators in our life motivates us because they
Hmm.
understand the stereotypes, the struggle, and everything like that.
Right.
But we have to just be able to continue to lift each other up and don't
Hmm.
just automatically, oh, his mama is this, or he, just try to talk
Right.
about, because you know how the staff members and stuff, how that can go. But
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they could actually be there, want to change, have that passion for those kids, that
Hmm.
more students in high school will be able to be prepared to go off to college or into the
Hmm.
workforce, and it will
Okay.
make a difference in our community.
I agree. Having a role model or seeing people that look like you, especially for young students, for young African American students,
Mhm.
is very important. Having those professionals working in the school, and they know that they have someone to look up to, and they're seeing someone that looks like them. Um, what about males being categorized as only going to college for sports? You want to talk a little bit about that, Evan? Give us a little bit of your voice on that one.
For that, I feel like that's not true at all. There's a lot of academic scholars that's on this campus,
Hmm.
including myself. So
Okay.
I feel like that is a bad misconception for black people,
Hmm.
well, black males, potentially, like especially.
Right.
As a computer science major, I get a lot of talk about that. When I say that I'm a computer science major, it's people that come up looking at me like I'm just look at me crazy. Like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you
Oh.
sure you're gonna be in that? Are you doing
Mhm.
sports or something? That's why you doing that. So it could be like
Wow.
a side major or something that you could do if football don't count. I mean, football don't if you don't make it in football or basketball or something like that.
Right.
So yeah,
Huge, huge, huge misconception. A lot of our student athletes here at the university are scholars. They're kicking butt in the classroom as well as on the court and in the on the field. So I definitely think that over the years, that misconception is kind of waning, but it's still present. And so not every tall uh, black man plays basketball. Not every, you know, buff guy plays football. So there are a lot of black men. They come on scholarship for athletics, but they're still performing in the classroom, or they're here on academic scholarship, and they just like sport to play sports, and so they're on the field as well. All right, so parenthood, the difference, the misconceptions of parenthood. And I want to go from just in general, and then from my perspective, and then how you all envision how parenthood should be, because I know it's huge, it's a huge gap on that one. So parenthood, mother and fatherhood. What are some of the
Um,
misconceptions?
I feel like when it comes to motherhood and fatherhood from the new generation and the old generation, I know the big thing is on disciplining your kids.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like nowadays, people are kind of more like out of the, whooping their kid, hitting their kid. Because then
Mm-hmm.
also, I feel like our generation, we kind of realized that, that back then, that was like back to slavery. That was a slave tactic to, get blacks in check, to get African
Right,
Americans in check, to try to, make us listen, fall in line. And I feel like we passed that time our own generations and generations.
right,
Because when you think about like what the whooping honestly does, like, and I feel like that is a misconception that all black parents, well, mothers and fathers whip their kids. I feel like that
mm-hmm.
is a big misconception because not all African American parents like, raise their kids with that type of discipline.
Right, right. Agreed. I know there's a misconception. It may not be black misconception, but it's a misconception, nonetheless, for our counterpart, or, Caucasian or white, that they're much softer and they talk. And then, like you said, we're going to go straight for the strap, uh, you know, with the, the iron fist, the corporal punishment type of, discipline. Uh, I see less of it today, but definitely, prior to, and I like that you raised that point. I never thought of it in that context, that it's derived from slavery,
Favorite.
the
Yep.
slave master keeping, the slaves in check. That's very interesting. Anybody else want to chime in on that? But that's very good. All right, Carrie.
Oh, can I?
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Jacoby.
Go ahead, Jacoby.
I'm sorry, for this topic, I really like this topic, but also I can say another misconception is that a lot of black males or black child in general don't have their fathers in their lives. I
Mm,
mean that's a
okay.
big misconception.
Mm-hmm.
And all like, and I feel like that's new generation, the old generation. Now also that nowadays, that you don't have to be married to like not married, but everybody have kids young. Oh, that's a big
Mm-hmm.
misconception. Just because it's more
Definitely.
prevalent nowadays. I mean, people it was always
Mm,
teenagers having kids. I just feel like
right.
nowadays this generation it's more like a misconception. Oh, like, oh, you under 22? I'm surprised you ain't got no kid. Like
Wow.
I'm like,
So
that's
you
a big
guys hear
misconception
that?
that black women have kids really young
Wow.
when
So
every
you
guy
all hear
is like,
that?
yeah.
I never knew that. You guys hear that a lot as young um people?
Yes,
Yes.
we do. And I would also say, like, going along with having kids young, I
Mhm.
think that the big misconception with Black families is like the baby kid type of thing. And I
Mm,
feel like I really just do not like that. And I'm just like,
right.
I feel like a lot of other races always want to come like, oh, Black people, they do this, they do that, or they don't take care of their kids, or they're the main ones, like, on government systems or getting their kids taken
Mm,
out the homes. And if you could look up the simple research, the main people getting kids taken out of their homes a lot of the times are like white nurses. That's the biggest category, female nurses, and not Black people. And the majority of people on government like systems are, white people, not Black people. So it's just funny to think like where did that stereotype come and why they put it on us if it's not even the truth.
Hmm.
So that is true.
right, right. Can you all still hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Okay, so I agree with you. I think that the stereotype came from, um, may have come, the misconception may have come again, in the 70s with the Black Panther Party and making sure that all young folks are fed. Um, but government wise, we were all pushed into certain housing categories, and so that may have come from that you know era when they were doing something good with WIC, making sure that our brown babies are fed, but you had the counter issue with government and subsidized housing and pushing, that community into what we call projects and things like that. So I think that that's how it got, interlaced together. Um, plus some classic lines your mom and dad would say. Oh goodness,
I brought you in this world. I'm gonna take you out. That's what my mama say all the time.
that's so funny. You're right. So we'll reserve that down to the generation gap, and that will be a topic down there. I'll add that to that. But that was a good one. What are some of the things your mama? Oh, I have a lot. You all probably don't even know a
A
lot of.
lot.
All right, financial status. I know one misconception, for me that has been forever, and it still is now. When we talk about generational wealth, and folks not saving, Black folks not saving money or investing. For me, that's a huge misconception. I know a number of African Americans that are investing their money very heavily. They are, making moves and saving and thinking about their future. So, as a young person, financial status. What are you taught? What are your thoughts? What are the misconceptions that? Go ahead, Carrie.
I feel like our generation now is more focused on generational wealth. I know my parents were, so they're always trying to make sure that their future families and things like that had it better than the past family. So they're always making
Mm-hmm.
sure that they're never lacking anything. They're always teaching them the little things that weren't always taught to them in the school system. So they actually had to learn it for themselves and learn how to maneuver financially and stretch every single penny.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I feel like a misconception can be like, for example, when I was growing up, I was always taught to go to school and get a job. It was always to get a job. It never was to be a boss, like write your own check. And I feel
Right.
like nowadays, this generation, especially Black women, they are like entrepreneurs. Like everybody is doing their own thing, no matter if it's selling hair, no matter if it's doing nails, lashes you put in here. I feel like Blacks, like African Americans, we are just we all entrepreneurs. Like I feel like that's a big misconception. A lot of people think that we always have to have a job. We always da da da. But it's like just because we have a job don't mean that's to support the dream. That's what the 9 to 5 is to support the dream. A lot of
Okay.
people have a misconception. Oh, well, we got this job. We just have it just to have it. And I feel like like we have it like to focus on generational wealth, focus on getting our own business, and focusing on getting a bigger bag.
Right. All right. Get the coins. So, are you all interested in investing, or are you learning about that now, or is that something that you think that you'll put on the shelf and do later? 'Cause I know for me, I wasn't taught about investing, when I was younger. Now it's really all over the place. And I think that we're getting a part of that, in the discussion, in the act of investing. So where are you all staying with that? Good. All right. So financial status, how important is that to you? Because I know, for me, as long as I'm comfortable, I can pay my bills. That's our mindset, us. We pay my bills and I'm good. I'm living fine. I know for you all, you said it's securing the bag, getting another, going to another level. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know if everybody do this, but so my type of broke at 20 years old is a different type of broke now. One thing that I do like to do is be disciplined when it comes down to my money.
Hmm.
So I'm just a type of person where if I go to the store and I want something, I'm going to get it.
Hmm.
However, I have been saving up and budgeting well enough so like when I do go to the store that I'll be able to, get what I want at that time. But the importance about this generation, we just have to understand that all of the flashy and expensive things that we may see on TV or what the celebrities and everybody else got is not as important
Mm-hmm.
when you finna go broke in your bank account, your savings account, you know what I'm saying? So you just
Mm-hmm.
have to this generation I feel like we have to most definitely learn the importance of budgeting and saving. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, when we get older and start living out on our own in
Mm-hmm.
apartments and houses and stuff like that, we'll be we'll have a taste of adulthood when it comes down to budgeting and how to pay this and this and this without being
Right.
broke at the end of the month,
Mm-hmm.
so
Right. So I guess a misconception that I have of your generation is that you all will allow your bank account to be a negative too, as long as you rocking, the flashy is the best. So you say no, that's not it. Okay, Carrie, tell me I'm wrong. That's just what I see. I see the
right.
flashiness of people. Yeah.
But my thing about it is, I guess because this is how I feel about certain things, if I know for a fact that I want something that is expensive,
Hmm.
if I cannot buy that item twice, it's not coming to me because I need to understand that, hey, there's going to be a rainy day where I'm actually going to need that money for something that's more important than those shoes, that bag, that jewelry. You understand what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, honestly, I think about it like this, and some people may take this offensively, but at the end of the day, I can't take that with me.
Mm.
I can't take it with me.
Wow. That's an old folks saying.
Materialistic things.
I
Right.
can't take it with me. So that's how I feel about certain things. So at the end
Right.
of the day, I'd rather put my money to a better use for my next generation
That's
or
right.
the generation that I have that's going to be with me.
However, you only live once. Now that's a saying now. If you know
Oh,
you
that.
want something, you've been, but don't go crazy. But you only live once. That's why I had when I be seeing them purses and stuff.
But I
Lord,
think
be finna have to take my debit card. But it's just like it be so cute. I can't find nothing else.
so that's a misconception, though. I think, right, that even as a community, as Black people, that we will spend our last dime just to look good and not thinking about the future. But that's not really true. A lot of us, I listen. I saved up for my Apple Watch. Thank you, Lord. I had to move up the timeline because my Fitbit broke, but I was almost there with all my money. But I save up to get those expensive things. So that is really a misconception. We have nice things. I buy nice things. I love nice things, but I am saving to get those things. I'm not just out ripping and just spending. So definitely not all of us are doing that. Now there are some. I know when I was in college, yes, I would let my account go down to zero. But that was then. I was younger, and it's not. But that's not a majority of Black people. So financial stability, and that's very important to the African American community. All right, so now we can talk about the generational gap and the misconceptions. Let's start out with music. I know we were talking about this earlier. Who wants to dive in? I said I would be good on this topic, so I don't want to start off. I said I would be very, very good. So I'll let one of you start. Misconception of music, the generation gap. Yes. And
A
you.
misconception that the older generation has of us is that
Uh-huh.
we completely skip y'all's generation of music. Like we don't even listen to it at all. When in all actuality, that's on all our playlists. Say it ain't true.
But y'all don't know the words.
What you say?
You all don't know the words. No,
Oh,
it's
They'll
very
be
hard
on
to
repeat.
believe. It's very hard for me to believe that you all listen to, songs in my view that make sense. Is again, I try not to be too bad, but the difference between, give me a love song now that you all have. Someone that's a love song. I
like
was
in other
listening. Yeah, what you all listen to now? A
Buddha,
love song.
name.
Mhm.
Daniel Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
Caesar?
Yeah, Daniel Caesar.
Daniel Caesar.
hmm Or Division.
They're laughing. I know what not of Daniel Caesar.
Wow. See, I know about Ray Charles, Sam
Uh-huh.
Cooke, Otis Redding.
See,
Okay.
You know
see.
what I'm saying?
Okay,
I know about them.
I think y'all
Anita
are
So
Baker.
fronting.
we really in a
I'm.
generational gap right now.
I
See,
think you all are
I
fronting.
like
What I
Silk
hear on the
No,
radio is not what you're saying.
not at all.
112
It really isn't.
Mint condition, new
Escape.
edition.
Okay, you all
New,
rigged this topic. I hear modern day love songs. Yes, help me with that. Maybe that's why I asked the question wrong. Give me
you got
some
music, soul child,
Modern day.
love. You
Up by
got
May.
This group is rigged.
Yeah,
Song.
Ella May,
That's why I
Ella
just
May.
said.
I
Caesar.
can't even think of some
Who
of
else
the
is on
foolishness
here?
that I hear.
Daniel Caesar's best part.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smalls. I needed
Oh
some help because they are
Lord, you
saying
on
stuff that
mute
I just
too. Unmute
really,
yourself.
I really unmute Mr. Smalls. You fussing, you muted. Unmute. Mute,
He
unmute.
is going off. He is on mute.
You on mute.
You on mute and you going off.
He's doing it on. We
What
couldn't
y'all
hear you,
not
Mr.
gonna do
Smalls.
is do Medina students like that. And she said modern day, and y'all named a song from when y'all was 5 years old. What's some
I know they
modern
know what
day
I'm talking about.
love songs that y'all
Hmm.
like?
Love songs. I'm trying to think of they're so vulgar and
I don't know.
they get to the point like so fast. It's no romance. Like we talked about earlier here, uh rocking knocking the boots. The name one of y'all song that's comparative to that.
Ain't that about six?
Girl, baby.
I was just
Is,
gonna say
but
go
the
baby.
way that it
Mhm.
is, the way that it is
It's
presented and
vulgar.
giving
Beverly,
Oh,
is not a
Beverly,
vulgar.
behave yourself. None of that.
It's not.
how
It's
is
not.
it
Our
both?
generation,
But it's under. It's very. It's not as in your face. It's subtle.
well, you
Your
know
stuff.
what?
Miss Bradley, I understand. I completely understand what you mean. However, because the songs back in the day, it was more
Mhm.
intimate. It was more like a connection, chemistry,
Right.
in person type of thing. Y'all know love and basketball. Hey, lady, all that. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? But nowadays, we ain't even really got to communicate like that. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day was more about the connection, in person, socializing. But this generation, we do not know how to communicate. And that's
Facts.
that on that.
Is that a necessity though? It's not a human
Yeah.
connection. Is not a necessity.
for the one, I don't mean to say it like this, but I
Uh-huh.
don't like this generation's thought on relationships and love and marriage and all those things,
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
when I
yeah.
see my parents
Right.
and I see
Mhm.
those things and they experience love every single day,
Right.
it's like they've just met each other for the first time all
Gotcha.
over again.
Yeah. So that's steady love. Yes, that's a nice song. So yeah,
It is.
That's nice.
that's the for me. I guess I'm just reading you all wrong. I'm putting you in the category that's y'all like that kind of music. Um, but it's just I can say that our music it's the same. It's just a different approach in how it is stated. But
Yeah.
I guess for me as a older person, I'm
Mhm.
just like, oh God, already 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds. Let's slow it down. Let's put the LP on and let's just move. But it's good to know that you all you still have that notion and that thought. It's not all of you.
That old soul. Yes,
I'm
ma'am, I
telling
do.
you,
Yeah.
And
that's
do.
that's a huge misconception that I had of you guys. I apologize.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Bradley.
Love you.
Fashion. Let's talk about fashion now, Mrs. Small. No, so someone said about our bell bottoms, and I said about the skinny jeans.
Ow.
It was different. They tucked their shirt in. They looked a little more
I mean,
tailored.
some people still tuck their shirts in and still look good. And still
Okay.
some girls, well, I can say it this way. We
Mhm.
brought back the bell bottoms.
Right.
Okay.
And we made we'll have them with cuts in them, wear a
Mhm.
cute shirt. You know, we made it our own. Even though I feel
Mhm.
like this generation is looking to the past for fashion advice
Okay.
and it's coming back up again.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Mhm.
Full circle. I think it goes around. I think it
Always.
does. Everything cycles in and out.
Mhm.
Um, but some of your
You know what
fashion
won't cycle out?
is not. It's
A
not.
white tee.
White tees have circles.
Check.
Next topic. I knew this was going to be a good one. So, sayings that your mama used to say. Y'all are too young. What
Ooh.
sayings did y'all mama say? What is that?
Destiny brought the first one. I brought you in this
Oh,
room and I
yeah.
can take you out.
Your
Yeah.
parents don't
Uh
say that to y'all. That's something that is said by parents that, use corporal punishment. They say that.
mm.
Your parents said, Mama always said, yeah.
Miss Reeves said, I'm not one of you said that I'm not one of your little friends.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not one of your little friends. Y'all hear that? Wow.
Yes.
I just refuse to believe that y'all have those sayings ringing. All right, what's some more?
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
It's good for the gooses. It's good for the gander.
I know my
Now,
mama
I
used to God bless a child to have his own.
God bless the child. Now, the good for the goose, I've heard it. It's good for the goose. It's not good for the gander. Because you can't do what other people do.
Oh,
Meaning that I can't do what my mother does because she's older than me. So it ain't,
Mhm.
yeah.
one thing my dad always says is he was like, "You don't believe fat meat is greasy." Like that's just like a country saying. Like, but he said, "You don't believe fat meat is greasy," saying that, "Oh, you don't think you'll get in trouble for it. You don't think like like
Right.
that he actually gonna say something to you about it." But that's just like an old country saying that he got from his dad. That's
Wow. I've
interesting.
never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then you
I
won't
know
be the
my great
stove is
grandmother
hot.
says. I
Mhm.
know my great grandmother says, "Don't get burned by that pot simmer."
Don't get burnt by the
Pot simmer.
Oh,
pot simmer.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, I
Elaborate on
got
that.
one. Do I look like boo boo food to you?
Do I look like Boo Boo the Fool?
oh, a hard head for a soft butt.
That's
That
what.
was
That's
that was
what.
one that I heard all the time.
And then you around here, your little friend. What your little friend at? You around here trying to cope.
Mhm.
Oh,
Like,
there's that one too.
those are some sayings I've never heard.
Mm.
My
Yeah.
I know. Ooh,
grandmother said,
my mom and dad used to say this one all the time. I hope you know that schoolwork like you know that song.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Ours came out more. You run around here, some people know the ABCs. Yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah. So some other misconceptions before we get Devin. I hope you've been over there brewing. You get
Ooh,
smelling
someone said
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Smelling yourself.
That's one. That's a huge one. You smelling yourself. It
Do
means
y'all
that you
think
just get.
the way how we talk to each other, like the language that we use,
Mhm.
um, what do they call it? Ebonics?
African
Do you guys feel like
vernacular.
that's still the same?
Uh
mm-hmm.
no, I wouldn't say that. I would say that this generation you all speak much better than a generation in between.
You
But
sure,
I
Miss
will
Brantley?
say that, yeah, I will say what triggers me or what bothers me is the how you all speak to each other,
Yeah.
tone,
That's right.
in the choice, choices of words that you use. It's
Right.
for me, it's kind of harsh, but for you, it's like that's just how we talk to each other. So that's something that um, as an older person, I haven't grasped that yet. Yeah. So this is how you all talk. Now, I'm gonna say the way that you all communicate is texting, even in
Mm-hmm.
even when you're in, you're talking, you're saying yes, right, Destiny. You
Ah,
get
yes. I
people
don't know why you
Most of
asking
them.
me to text.
right. I get emails all the time, and people don't complete sentences. There are no
Y'all
period.
was to hit your friend up. Y'all gonna send your friend an email versus a text. No, you're gonna text your friend. Like that's how you do
Right,
it.
right. And so it's translated over to emails. So you're emailing the
I feel like I
messages like
call
you're
people more.
texting.
Mm,
Mhm.
You all do
I
a
feel
lot
like
of
I call people
FaceTiming.
more.
I'm
You all
Yeah.
do
different.
want to FaceTime a lot. Yeah, that's different.
I got a call because
I like in person talking too.
Right.
I'm
Me too.
social.
And
Yeah.
talking. I got you. Well, I guess y'all are not as different as I thought you all were. Maybe it's the panel that's rigged. It might just be a rigged panel.
The panel.
we're
I
not doing
just
that. We're not rigged today. We are not rigged today.
but it's good to know that there are still some, there are still some, similarities. I thought I was way off and didn't understand y'all. It's sometimes it's really hard to understand or to think that,
Mhm.
wow, I am so way away from, or the gap is so wide that I really don't.
Right.
And it's not.
Do you think, Dean Bradley, that because our parents taught us a certain way, that there doesn't really seem to be a generational gap between us and you?
With how we was raised.
I can agree with that because a lot of your parents would be my peers,
Mm-hmm.
the same age group. So I think that's the difference of what makes but it's only a few years of difference because, like I said, there's a time and space in the generation that we're like miles apart. But then there's a little space where, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
your parents are my peers, and so I get it. I can hear some of the nuances and some of the behaviors and dialogue and how you all behave. That is, I can resonate within. There is a gap of a group of people that I just don't get. I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Dean Bradley, do you feel like, I know I don't mean to call the freshmen out, do you think that the freshmen are going to have a generational gap with us and as well as you guys as well?
Um, Not huge. So the first year students that we have now, the freshmen from 2019, they're starting the Gen Z, the Generation Z, and so they have some of the characteristics of your generation. Same thought processing. They're more, uh, you know, let's make this world a better place. You all have that thought, but it's not really concrete. They are really into it. So their jobs are going to be careers that they can really change the world. Um, so that's the difference that I see.
Why are
Um,
derogatory greetings seen as endearment? Mm,
yeah,
I
that's a good
don't I don't do
question.
that. Can't.
Mm.
I tell you, this is a rigged
My
panel.
mama would tell me to wash my mouth out with soaps.
So give me your classifications. Maybe that will help us out.
I
The
feel like
seniors,
um
all seniors.
Senior.
oh I'm a
Juniors.
Junior.
Juniors.
junior.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I feel like a lot of times why people take those derogatory terms and
Mhm.
change them into meanings of endearment is because like they take all the hate and the struggle that was put on us and try to flip it around into love. Like, like the N word was seen, as something full of hate. And I feel like as a community, we sort of
Right.
just, spewing it back to the type of thing amongst each other as love. Like I still don't think the word, I feel like we shouldn't use it, even though we all at times do use it. But and one thing that I don't get that I can say I am guilty of sometimes is like with females calling each other the B word, like with your best friend is like common, or when you have something to say, or you be like, girl, like little some girl, you saying the B word. Like I
Mhm.
don't know why we do that, but like it's a thing.
Maybe we can figure out where that came from.
I
It
don't
is
know
not
where
cute.
it
Yeah.
comes from.
Yeah, that
Back to each other.
Trying to change the definition. Trying to change the definition of certain words. Yeah. Agreed. Just as she said, it's changing it, making it a word of endearment.
but
Yeah.
I feel like those words that derogatory terms I
Hmm.
should stay the derogatory terms. They shouldn't be used as a word that doesn't mean exactly what endearment means.
Right. I think you don't think it's too far into mainstream and into our culture and vernacular that we can turn it. I just don't see the B word just
Oh yeah.
being erased.
It won't be erased,
You know.
but I feel like if we catch someone saying it to us, be like, hey,
Hmm.
my name isn't that, and nor will it be that.
That's
So
right.
therefore, please address me how I'm supposed
Right.
to be addressed.
Right.
And and also, so how do Dean Bradley? How do you feel about the N word just being said in the Black community?
Honestly, I agree with Destiny. You know, we've turned it that bad word, that negative word, into a term of endearment. Um, and I feel that's our word. We own it. You know, it's like empowerment. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
We
in a
may
sense. And I
own the
think
word, but we weren't the first ones to use it.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's a bad word. We shouldn't use it. And I know where the negative
Right.
connotation comes from, but I think people using it is a form of taking it and empowering themselves. You're not going to use
Yeah.
that word towards me. 'Cause I'm going to use it, and it's our word.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Uh-oh.
I use it. Oh, okay. All right. Come on,
All right.
Mm.
So what I learned from looking up African, like ancient African stuff going on, like back before slavery, the
Daniel.
word, the N word, was formerly called negus, and
Yes.
it meant it was for like royalty in
Right.
Ethiopia. It was
Yes.
a word for empowerment. So I guess like after we went through like after the colonials came to Africa and you know brought
Okay.
us
Talk
to
about it.
North America and South
Right.
America and such.
Right.
That's when they started changing the word niggas into the N word.
Right.
And now we're trying to bring it back to what it is. I feel like, but some people don't really understand it
Okay.
the way it should be, should be said.
Right.
If I'm saying that right.
Yeah. We
Mhm.
get you. Go ahead, Zion.
I was gonna say on the lines of the same thing. It did
Hmm.
originate from that way, but I know a common theme within the
Hmm.
Black community, to an extent, is turning bad into good,
Right.
and we see that commonly within our music. And hate.
Hmm.
Well, not even you can't say hate speech, derogatory terms
Hmm.
to basically empower us. But
Right.
at the same time, it also hurts us because then
Correct.
once we actually think about it and get,
Hmm.
once we've proven the anger, it's just like we say it, give no mind to it, and bring back the hate in which it originated. So it's kind of like a flip flop, and it causes like a switch in the mind when it comes to using the word.
Hmm.
And
Right.
also for males wise, me personally, I don't like to be called that whatsoever.
Hmm.
Granted, I do say it sometimes in compassion. I know better,
Hmm.
trying to work out of it, but it's just
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
mm, but yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all of us. We're honest
Wait,
with ourselves. Yeah. Go ahead,
I
Jacoby.
want to say one thing. I want to touch back on what Killian had said. He said we wasn't the first ones to use it, and that's completely true. But the thing is, we was the first ones to take power from it.
Hmm.
What I want to touch on is like, for example, I kind of agree with using the like using stuff like that and taking power from it because I mean, why not use something that was used to oppress you? Why like take the power from it? I
Right.
agree with it. Like for example, how like men used to degrade women, calling them like bees and stuff, and how women took that as a term of empowerment.
Right.
Like that's amazing to me. I
Right.
don't look at it as like the like just because it was used to like something back in the day as derogatory and offensive and used to oppress people. What's wrong with using that as to empower other people?
Right. To
But
take
Yeah.
that's all I
the
did want to
sting
say.
out
I'm
of
kinda like, yeah.
right, to take the sting out of it. I agree. And then I agree with Zion that, it at some point it backfires on
Yeah,
us,
because you got to think
so
about the kids when it come down to
right,
everything, because
right.
the kids don't know nothing, and then once they try to learn about it through
Hmm.
internet X, Y, and Z, they'll see the
Hmm.
real version of it versus how we understand it and grew to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes a whole different ball game, and that's
Right.
some of what's coming apart our generation, which you're starting to see.
Mm.
But when you say the real version, what do you mean?
Say that
You say
again.
that again.
When you say like the real like version of it, like what do you mean? Like for example, if it's supposed to mean one thing, why can't we change that and you make it mean something else?
Hmm. I think, like Devin said, it was Nigris royalty. It may have gotten lost in
Yeah.
translation on the
Uh,
pronunciation, and then it was just used as a mean, term, and then we evolved, and we're going to take back that word. And so, we made it a term of endearment. So I think what he's saying is that when the young people see the original meaning, they have been so tainted on the negative, which we may think that is a term of endearment, but to someone else's eyes, it's really like, why are you calling her a bee? It's a bad thing, and then why women took it back because men were, using it negatively towards them. So I think, like I said, it kind of stings us, and you try to get back to the original use of it, where so much negative in between that it's hard, and then the babies are confused. So I think, if I'm not misunderstanding you, right? Who's that that's in trouble? They turned it off so slick, I can't tell which one did it. All right, guys, I think we're running out of time. This was good. I really enjoyed the dialogue with you all. Just, having these topics, thought provoking discussions, so that we can hear your perspective. I think that we preach a lot to you and give our perspective and tell you what we are, what we think that you should think. And so it's my goal through, a series of conversations like this to be able to hear you. And as we've seen tonight, I probably had a little bit of difference in opinion, but for the most part, we're all on the same page in what we're seeing and what we're experiencing. I may have experienced it, or know about it from my age perspective, and then you all are in it now. So again, I do appreciate you all for joining me. Devin, are you ready to give us something to go out? You got something for us from Word? And thank you again,
Otis
everybody.
Redding.
Huh?
Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay.
Oh, you gonna sing it for us?
Yeah.
All right, come on. Ooh,
Sitting in the morning sun.
yes.
I'll be sitting in the evening comes, watching the ships roll in. Then I'll watch them roll away again. Then sitting on the dock of the bay,
Hey.
watching the tides roll my way. Ooh, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia,
Yes.
headed for the Frisco Bay, 'cause I had nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. Yeah, so I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tides roll my way. Ooh, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
All right. Thank you. Woo, woo, woo. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.